Ladies and gentlemen, do you know how to choose a domain? Now, fundamental rule, in case you are going to buy a new domain name, okay, even for those of you who already have a domain name, there's probably a few things that you can take care of. Maybe people always say that the second time you do it, you should do it better, right? I always say, if it's the second time that you're doing it, you should try to do at least 1% better than the last time you did it. Yeah. So how to create domain name? Again, consider your branding. Okay. Make sure it's relevant. Okay. The length. Yeah. Don't create, domain names that are too long. Okay. There are reasons for that. I'll actually share a little bit more. And inserting some keywords. So some of you are very experienced people, probably have attended some of our classes when we talk about SEO. So some of you cleverly inserted your SEO keywords inside your domain name. Smart move, all right? Because at the end of the day, when we actually invest money in domain name, there are a few things that we want to, how I say, one shot get it right across the board. Having a domain name is not just to own something. It's actually for a further longer term goal. And some of you are actually very invested in doing SEO, right or not? So you can see learningjapanese.club, okay, allcorporategifts.com, all right? They actually have keywords inside there. So you can immediately see the purpose, all right, of that domain name. People do not need to guess what is your business about. Yeah. Another thing, very important for SEO is also your extension. All right. So whether it's .org, .com, .net, general rule, we actually say .com is a better investment in two ways. A .com is usually cheaper than a .com.my. Now, for those of you who are wondering or probably trying to decide, should I go for a .com or should I go for a .com.my or should I just go for .net or .org or just choose the cheapest in the list? I would say it depends on your goals. If you want to maximize your money, which is what all businesses should do, you are owning your business, right? I mean, I'm sure you have a very limited budget when you first start out and you want to make sure you maximize it. So yes, extension, again, the first one, if you can, invest in a .com first. All right, okay, again, look at your own business case. If it's not relevant to you, maybe from the term of, maybe from the perspective of branding, a .com.my works better for you. For example, you are a owner of a factory. All right, you own a factory and your factory is in Malaysia. So sometimes people will intentionally choose a .com.my instead of just a .com. Yeah, so these are some of the factors that you consider for your business when it comes to choosing a domain name. All right, so again, your business objectives. What is it that you want to do? Will you be using SEO? All right. Of course, the other things are also like easy to spell and say, trademark issues, and also to future-proof your business. Now, future-proofing, this word, okay, some of you might see future-proofing your business everywhere, especially when you go for business conferences and stuff like that. Usually it refers to digital transformation. But do you know that domain name also can future-proof your business? Again, we do not have a crystal ball. We don't have a crystal ball when it comes to deciding a name. Okay, even businesses, I've seen businesses change every month. Yeah, sometimes, especially when you're new, you're trying a bit here, a bit there, trying to new market, trying to test whether there is a market fit, and you don't really know what is the end product that you're selling, right? Okay, so let's say, for example, if you were trying to sell fax and suddenly you did your market research, you did testing, and then people say, nowadays people don't use fax anymore, people use WhatsApp. Okay, so you got the idea, okay, why not I use all about WhatsApp.com? This is the time that you're gonna get into trouble, which is trademark. You can get sued if your domain name uses a trademark from another person. And again, in this world, right, we are talking about global business, yeah. It's a good idea to check your ideal name. Is it trademarked elsewhere? How big is that brand? Will it cause you legal issues? So that's one aspect of future-proofing your business that you have to be aware of. So don't use other people's brand name. Try to avoid as much as possible. And the idea from Jeffrey is good. You target the main niche. Yeah, but a lot of people, what they'll do is, first domain name is about my business. I'll just use my business name. Nothing wrong with that. You decide. All right. So what to avoid? Okay, you come up with a fantastic name. Okay, again, please check whether you're using any words that is misleading. And also when it comes to words, those of you who are a little bit clever in copywriting, I know we want to be very creative. We want to show our creativity in our writings. But even if you are a copywriter, you shouldn't be too creative, because the thing is, people will need to remember your brand. And people's understanding of words in different countries may be different. Yeah. So, avoid misleading words. Look up the dictionary, okay, and see whether that word actually means something else somewhere else around the world. Okay. Numbers. Now, numbers is one thing that you probably need to investigate a little bit further, because in certain countries, numbers is a good thing. Some of you might doubt this, but if you look at China websites, almost, I think 3 out of 10, websites in China will have numbers in it. And it's a very, very normal occurrence. Yeah, so again, it depends on your target market. Will they resonate well with numbers? Now, why is this? Now, those of you who speak Mandarin or speak Chinese, you probably will know that sometimes creative people in China, they get some sort of hidden meaning from a string of numbers. So this is something very interesting that can portray your creativity or portray your relevancy, again, to China audience or to Chinese speakers. So again, pick and choose your domain name. Try to avoid numbers as much as possible if you are doing professionally. But again, if your brand name actually has numbers, then there's nothing much you can do about it. Yeah. Hyphens, never put any hyphens inside your domain name. Yeah, hardly people actually remember to put hyphens in a domain name when they type it, especially when people use your domain name when they want to email you. That's going to be a problem. Long words or complicated words. When I say complicated words, it means words that are difficult to spell, especially when your target audience is don't use English as the first language. Yeah, so sometimes they might get the spelling wrong. Yeah, so again, check and check again whether your domain name is something easy that people can spell in the first place. Yeah, or trademark issues. If it's extremely similar, not exact words, exact spelling, but extremely similar, also try to avoid it. Okay, we're moving on to top-level domains. Now, there are two types of top-level domains. There is the .com. There's also the .com.my. Now, for those of you who are not from Malaysia, you probably have seen .com.sg, .com.th, .com.cn. Sometimes it doesn't have a .com. It just goes straight to .cn or .th. Okay. Now, for your information, com basically means commercial. So some of you have seen .net. Net basically means network. .org basically means organization. Now, not everyone is able to buy a .org or even sometimes a .com.my. Okay, it depends on certain restrictions, like whether you are a registered entity, okay, with the organization committee, the global organization committee, that's the .org, or whether you are a government .gov, or even for education, you actually need to register yourself with the education authority in the US before you actually get the .edu. So it's quite complicated if you choose any other .something. All right. Of course, these are top-level, very popular top-level domains that refers to a certain type of business. Yeah, but if you are doing a blog, commercial, or even for your own influencer business, a .com is immediately relatable, right? It's the best investment you can make. All right. Now, next up, when you choose your domain name, okay, you can basically do a name check. All right. So this is namecheck.com. All right. So if you're starting new, I would highly recommend that you try to check whether your domain name is already picked up by someone else. Okay. Most businesses today basically will not just create a domain name, they will also want to use the same name for their social medias. All right. On the average, I think almost every business now has at least one social media. One. Yeah. But now more and more people do the pair approach. That means they actually not just have one social media, but they actually at least have two. Now, there's a reason for this because I think those of you who actually do a lot of marketing on social media, you will know that different social media basically has different audiences. Yeah. So more and more businesses are investing a little bit more on content creation. And that's the reason why sometimes you will find two or more. So name check is a very good tool for you to find out, okay, who else is out there that is probably using your domain name. So let's say I'm going to sell a certain type of food, okay, and it's called nasi lemak best. All right, and I'll just do a search, okay, right? So this tool is pretty good because it will tell you, you know, what dot whatever, okay, is it available or not. Again, people usually will go for .com, but sometimes there are some people who settle with the second best. All right, so immediately you can see .com available or not, .asia, .online, .photo. Again, it's really, really up to you which one is suitable for you. Not just that, you can basically check usernames as well. Yeah. All right, so you can see, okay, nasi lemak best. Okay, you can't create some nasi lemak best at nasi lemak best on Facebook or at nasi lemak YouTube handle or even Twitter. All are taken up. All right, you can see how popular this nasi lemak thing is in Malaysia. Okay, it's already taken up. Sad, right? So what to do? What do you think I should do when I see all red? Instead of just nasi lemak best, you know, put the person's name in front. That's a good idea. You personalize the name a little bit. Okay. Another idea is also maybe you want to localize that name a little bit. Yeah. So it's like instead of saying that you sell this particular food in Malaysia, you probably want to say you sell this kind of food in SS2. I think some of you have heard of durian SS2 before. Yeah. All right. So again, this is more on the strategic positioning of your product. Again, don't worry. Domain names, you can invest in any number of domain names for your business. It's not like you have to buy just one domain name and stick with it for your entire life. So again, like I mentioned, you can buy any number of domain names and point back to your website. Do you know that? Yeah, which is what I'm going to mention this again, domain forwarding. Now for this, I'm going to demonstrate something. Yeah. Has anybody heard of a very famous peanut butter brand called Skippy? Yeah, I think some of you have heard of it. It's a very famous brand. It originated from Singapore. So yeah, I've been having Skippy peanut butter all the time. And one day I was looking at the label, the packaging label on the Skippy, you know, packaging lah, okay, where factory lah, manufacturer, right? And then I see the website. Okay, guess what is the name of their website? Let me do a search on Skippy peanut butter. Okay, all right. Now, if you do a search on the Skippy brand, their brand is actually peanutbutter.com. It's their domain name. Of course, being a very powerful brand, okay, they probably also have www.skippy.com or skippypeanutbutter.com or any number of any domain names that has the word Skippy. Yes, when you are a big brand, you will find a way to conquer all domain names that actually has your brand name. It's called brand protection, and it depends on your money also, whether you have money to actually invest in that. All right, because for your information, when you buy a domain name, you're going to actually have to renew it every year. Later, when we go through some information about domain names, how much it actually costs, you'll quickly realize that it actually adds up to a lot. Yeah, so on the average, if you are really concerned about branding, I've seen businesses, they invest, they at least buy up the domain names for .com, .com.my, all right, based on suffix. I have seen people, buy the certain number of common domain names that has the brand name. That's just several things that people are likely to misspell. Okay, they buy it. So you need a full-time, marketer to actually help you investigate all these words that can relate back, or people have easy for people to be misled by that domain name. Must be expensive, yeah. Again, .com.my. If you consider all different countries in the world, yep, yeah, that's a lot. Okay, all right. So let's move on. Okay, now I'm going to share with you. Okay, the 5 things that nobody tells you about website domains and hosting. All right. So some of this information may be helpful for you to finally get that domain name. All right. Maybe you have a lot of hidden questions in your brain that's telling you, don't buy. What if? All right. What happens if I do this, will I get that? Okay. There's so many questions that you don't know how to ask. That's why I don't get any questions, you see. Hint, hint. Okay. All right. So you're probably digging up the Telegram. No, I got question one. I just don't know how to ask. All right. Try. Okay. All right. So domain registration, you find your ideal domain name. Woohoo! All right, it's time to buy it. Okay, so how much does it really cost? Okay, now if you have this handout, I got a bit of notes now and about a few links that you can refer to when it comes to buying domains. But I'm going to just demonstrate this on my browser. Okay, don't worry, whatever you see on my browser right now is basically screenshotted in the handout also, just in case you want to do it yourself. Yeah. All right. So welcome to Exabytes. Exabytes is basically the largest domain and hosting provider in Malaysia. I'm sure if you are internationally, you're coming from the international front, I'm sure you have similar domain hosting providers in your country as well. Just do a Google search. You get a lot of recommendations. Okay, but here is Exabytes. You might want to consider typing in your preferred domain name to find out whether it's available or not first. Yeah, a lot of people, they get so happy, so excited that, wow, this name is super powerful. I definitely want to use it now. All right. And they go and register the business. Then after that, they buy the domain name. Again, and suddenly they realize domain name taken. So it's for online business, you have to do the reverse. You find out first whether the domain name is there or not. Okay, so I'm going to use this particular sample that I showcase inside here. Okay, all right, we know nasi lemak is probably going to be taken up, huh? So nasi lemak best, okay.com. All right, so I'm just going to check for the domain. All right, so this is Exabytes. Again, your preferred domain provider, or the person who registers domain for you, they provide this service. Yeah, they will have different charges. They will list their availability differently, but most essentially, okay, what they will do and what they will typically do is to offer you, okay, something called best deal lah, this time only lah, limited time promotion lah, okay, to basically tell you how much it will cost if you register their domain name. All right, so you can see whether it's a .com or that .my, or yeah, sometimes they give you some suggestion, other suggestions, and some more they highlight it. Buy them before someone else does. It's like it's trying to create that sense of urgency. Okay, it's trying to evoke fear in you that, wow, there's so many potential other domain names that sound like my brand. I got to have it all. Again, resist that temptation. All right. So Okay, sorry, I forgot to share this tab, but I saw it. Okay, all right. So this is congratulations, nasilemakbest.com is available. All right, and one of the first things that you need to do is check what is the terms of the pricing here. All right, it says here best deal, right? So let me show you what's the difference between all these different domain names. Okay, yes, this is why I say registration fee may differ. So you can probably say, okay, .com costs this much, .my costs this much. Do you see the difference between a .com and a .my? Yeah. All right. So that's food for thought for you. All right. If those of you who are thinking to invest either .com.my or even .my, the moment you put a country level code, it will be more expensive. Which is why I mentioned before, usually it's the manufacturing or the factory owners that will actually immediately firsthand invest in the .com.my or country level domain first, because they need it. They need that particular country domain to prove that their factory is located in that country, because a .com.my can only be purchased by a registered business in that country. It's for credibility reasons. Yeah. So far so good. Okay. This one no problem lah, sub water lah. Usually domain registrars, they won't cheat you one. They won't cheat you this kind of money. This is actually quite governed by the ICANN. Okay, it's an international authority that actually tells you how much to charge for a domain name. So you won't go wrong if you go for a reputable domain registrar to buy your domain names. All right, so let me check and see what else. Okay, yeah. All right, now this is just an example where you can buy domain names. Charles liked to buy his domain names. Charles is our founder, yeah. So he actually invests a lot of time, effort, and also money in SEO strategies. Okay, and his favorite place to actually source for domain names. I like to use source because people like Charles, they don't buy one domain name one. Okay. So yes, this is difference. Yeah. On the online world, there will be this special group of people who like to collect domain names. All right, it's a collector's business, I would say. If you ask me what kind of business is that, it's a collector's business. You basically collect domain names before it becomes popular. All right, and it's you sell it for a higher price if people wants it. Okay, it's a real business. It's a collector's kind of business. And the very special term we use is domain parking. Okay, it's a very lucrative business also. All right. So yes, Namecheap really gives you a very good offer, but websites like Namecheap, they cannot sell you .com.my domain names. They can only sell you .com, .org, or even .net domain names. So this is the one thing that you have to take care of when you want to buy your domain name, and your domain name is probably ending with a .my or some country code level. You need to find a local, that means your Malaysia hosting provider, to actually help you register the domain name. Yeah, even the domain registration or the domain registrar person must also be based in that country. Yeah, in Malaysia, you just need to find a local, domain name. Your business is registered with the Malaysia Security Commissions. You have the registration number. You have the related documents to prove that you are a Malaysian government, Malaysia business. Okay, and yeah, you can basically own that domain name. Now, just to share with you, if you want to buy a domain name that is in China, they have additional requirements. They require that your hosting is also the hosting server or the hosting company. Hosting and domain is two different things, yeah. So your hosting is also from China or in China. Now the server is also has to be in China. Yeah, there's a lot more conditions to actually get a .cn, just to share with you. All right, so always check what is the actual requirements to buy a domain name. So what good, huh? Okay. All right. You didn't notice, ah? Okay. All right. So don't worry. We all learn something new every day. Okay. So that's the thing that you can do when you buy something from Namecheap. Okay. Now, a lot of domain hosting, right? I think congratulations, yeah, for those of you who are probably going to buy your domain name, haven't bought it yet. In Namecheap, I think they have this very nice offer. Very nice offer. Why I say this? Okay, I'm going to show you a little bit of offer. Yeah. Now you can add to cart. Let's say you find your domain name already, they'll give you a discount. Okay, newcomer gets more discount. But I think the more important thing here is when you add to cart and you want to check out. I'll just click on the checkout. Don't worry, guys, I'm not going to buy a domain name. I just want to show you something. All right. Now, when you buy a domain name, there will be something called domain privacy. All right. Anybody knows what a domain privacy is? And you're going to spend money, yeah. So you probably have to know what is all this technical term means. And the last thing you want to do is to pay for something that you won't use. Anybody knows what is a domain privacy thing? And now another caveat here, let me just do the same search on Exabyte. Let me just share this tab. Nasi lemak best. Okay, I share this tab again. All right, and let's say okay, I just want to buy this domain name. Don't want to give it a second. I just continue All right, I just want to demonstrate to you that different domain registrars will use different names for this thing. Okay. All right, yeah. On Exabytes, there's something called ID protection block. Now, when you register your domain name, you will be required to give your name, your email, and also an address. This is compulsory. Okay, so that it is properly registered to you or your business. So your business actually have a business address also, right? Okay, what happens if you don't have? That's the other question. Sometimes people will actually drop their country or maybe the region or maybe the area of their office or where your business is. I know a lot of online businesses, they buy domains, right? Do I need to declare everything? Actually, it's required by the law that to declare all this. All right. Now, why we need protection? Why we need to protect our privacy? Okay, so this is the part where I am going to introduce you to something called the whoisxy.com. What exactly is this? Now, who is WHOIS is where you can find out who owns the domain name, correct? WhoXY is a much more advanced version of that. Really? Okay, so let me show you for example, if I wanted to find out, okay, let me look for a domain that is actually taken by someone. Yeah, I'm sure somebody has bought this domain name already. Okay, so nasilemak.com. Okay, who XY or who is actually will show you and will tell you who owns the domain name. All right, you will see the person's registrant contact here, administrative contact here, technical contact here. All this information is things that you are likely to give your domain provider. Yeah, and all this information is publicly searchable. It's either you use the whois.com or you use a tool like this, people will know who actually bought this domain name. So if you invest in ID protection or even privacy protection, you can have all this information masked. Right? Okay. Now, whoisxy is very fantastic is because in case, well, your boss is telling you, if money can solve a problem, it is not a problem. So someone actually bought my domain name. Let's buy it from them. For example, okay, you die also want nasilemak.com. All right. So I would suggest, okay, use the whoXY, go and look it up. Okay. Most people who are in the business of domain parking, they will let the public know who actually owns the domain name because they want leads. Yeah, all right. And you can also check, this person, okay, domain, how many domain this person owns. He doesn't own just nasilemak.com. Website King also he own lah. Mr. Busa also .com. Okay, also he owns lah. WhatsApp, the alternate spelling of WhatsApp also he owns lah. All right, this is very, very interesting. CameraMalaysia.com also he owns. Celebrity gossip. There you go. Again, in case you have, a business partner or a stakeholder that says money is not the problem, just get that domain name. You know who to look for to buy that domain name from. All right, so let's share with you this screen. Okay, I realized I'm not sharing this screen. But yeah, so far, is this interesting for you guys? Let's kidnap him and ransom. Walao. Okay, that's another alternative way to get your domain name. But let's not play that kind of game, okay? We are very civilized people. We talk money. Yeah, or what they want. They just want money. Correct not? Yes, money speaks very loud, especially for a person who actually parks a domain name. And if somebody is fighting with you for the domain name, yes, it's going to be a very interesting bidding war. Now, some of you might know of this website called flippa.com, right? Yeah, you can buy a domain name there. So. Yeah, Flippa is a bit more open when it comes to bidding for the domain name. But let's say you just want to go privately to this person and ask. All right. And presumably this domain parking person, domain name collector is honest. He will probably, come up with a deal with you. A bit more flexible, not just in terms of money. Sometimes, a little bit of collaboration with him, or you help him market the service of domain parking, then okay lah. He might sell it to you for cheap, right? Okay, hopefully lah, huh? All right, so okay, you buy your domain name, you are supposed to renew your domain name every year, yeah? Yes, it does not belong to you forever and ever. Okay, you are supposed to renew it. So renewal fees may be higher than the initial cost. Okay, so this is also very, very important. All right, now, for those of you who have probably seen what I did on Exabyte, I was looking for nasilemakbest.com, all right? And then it told me that the 5-year deal is 199.95. All right, so if you do your mathematics, it's not rocket science, it's not MS, it's very simple. You just take 199.95 divided by 5, okay? How much money you are likely to pay per year. All right, okay, so this one you can use that as your own personal budget on how much it costs to maintain your domain. All right, that's a basic idea. However, when you do your checkout, when you want to buy that domain name, there's a very extremely small print. Now, yes, I already highlight it for you here. It's a very extremely small print. Okay, it's telling you renewal is how much. Please pay attention to this number. A lot of you probably will assume, if I buy my domain name for 5 years, it's 200 ringgit. Okay, then renew also 200 ringgit lah. Wrong. Okay, so again, domain registrars, they have the due diligence to inform you how much it will likely to cost if you renew another 5 years. And they usually will indicate it inside the checkout. Yeah, so you do a mathematics, it's almost double. Why I say almost double is because also most domain registrars, they have this very special arrangement with ICANN. I give you just a snippet of the news article I've seen. This domain registrar is from VeriSign. Okay, VeriSign also does domain registration. They actually have an exclusive contract, with ICANN. All right, and ICANN actually allows them to increase their price. So you can already imagine, means any domain registrar also can do that. Yes. Sometimes yearly renew increase, but never more than 7%. Yeah, so it's unspoken rule. Sometimes they don't tell you what their contract is, but when you budget for domain renewal, please make sure you have extra budget. We're talking about one domain only. You imagine those people, right, that buy more than one domain. Holy crap. Yes. Excel sheet, okay, calculate, okay, then you know what total, how much total amount that you will spend just to keep that domain name. Charles is saying, yeah lah, inflation also. Not just inflation, also your currency exchange. Yeah, sweating, right? Oh my God, yes, everything in USD. Okay, so, okay, so is this interesting, guys? Let me know. Let me know. Yeah. So yes, okay, so those of you who are really, who thinks that domain parking is a really good business, yeah, you probably want to reconsider that after you see the renewal process. Not so straightforward one. Okay, all right, so we stick to one domain we stick to only our business domain. So next big problem, alamak, I forgot to renew my domain name. Anybody has experienced this before? Don't worry, okay, this is really a very common mistake, especially when you don't know you own your domain name. Especially for companies who actually outsource their entire web development to other people. Yeah, usually the website domain and hosting is left to the hands of other people to help you maintain. So sometimes they don't get payment from you, they don't renew. And sometimes you don't even know your domain name expired already. So Charles, yes, lesson learned. Dulu ada, sekarang tak ada. Oh yes, make sure you have notification. Yes, set alarm, set alarm. Okay. Yeah, all right. Now, if when you buy your domain name, it is registered with your email, you will get notification. That's correct, Jeffrey. But I have seen so many businesses, they outsource their website development project and everything to a web designer, web developer. They don't really care about this domain hosting. So when they realize that, why suddenly our website cannot go in anymore? Then the sudden realization that, did we pay our web designer? Yeah. All right. So yeah. So probably yeah, you realize it too late, or is it? Is it really too late? Okay. So again, I just teach you a little bit lah. All right. When your domain name is expired, right? So you can see the orange color bar here. Expiry is here. All right. There's something called renewal grace period, and there's a redemption grace period. Okay. So actually, it's 30 days plus 30 days. Now this one is 0 to 30 days because this is different for different domain registrars. Usually most of them will at least give you 15 days renewal grace period. Then after that, they'll start counting the grace period, the redemption grace period. So if you renew during this period, the renewal grace period, it is still same renewal price as promised in your checkout screen. But if really lapsed already, you only realize it during the redemption grace period, you will be compounded extra. How much extra we are talking about? I just share with you some information I found on the internet. Yes, it is USD, not RM. Yeah, 400 bucks at least. Again, this is not inclusive of tax. All right, so yeah, okay, so please do not let people or other people handle your domain hosting without you knowing what's going on. And don't be surprised also sometimes when you outsource your website or hosting to other people, and your the website agency will tell you, oh, renewal is this much. How come so much? It's their fault because they renew late. But they pass on the charges to you. Oh, it happens. Yeah. So again, depends on your agency, who are they. Okay, they might tell you and be honest upfront. Yeah. Now, another thing that you have to be aware of is something called domain transfer. In cases where, like Charles, Charles got 100 domain names parking there, okay? And you know, he's a serial buyer. So he buys domain name here a bit, there a bit, Namecheap buy 10 domain names, Exabyte buy another 10 domain names, and then some other domain registrar company or maybe some special deal, okay, buy another 10 domain names. So it's everywhere, all over the internet, all have different renewal dates. All right, so if you have the money, okay, a lot of people will do something called domain transfer. They will put it under one domain registrar and then just renew from one place. These are just the basic process of how you do a domain transfer from company A to company B. Again, what is the purpose? To consolidate everything in one place. All right, so you don't have to go 300 places to maintain your 300 different domain names. Yeah. Now, again, when you do domain transfer, all right, your domain registrar will want you to pay an extra year of renewal. It is not free. Usually 1 year renewal, you have to pay extra just to consolidate things. All right, so don't simply do domain transfers unless you really need it. It's very rare unless you have 2 or 3 different domains bought from different places. For example, some people like to buy the .com from DMC. Then since you can only buy the .com.my from exabytes, okay, you buy from exabytes. Then at the end of the day, you realize, wow, these 2 domain names, 2 different time. So you want to make it renew on the same time. Then yes, some people go down to that level to make sure that it's simpler process to renew your domain names. Don't ask me why people like to spend money like that, but like I said, for the sake of efficiency, spending a little bit money is not a problem. Okay, so yeah, why companies do certain things, now you know. All right, now free website hosting. Anybody use free website hosting before? You all love free things, right? Wow, it's free, oh, no need money. Wow. Okay lah, you probably know the WordPress.com and the WordPress.org. And okay, all right. So again, those of you who are not so informed, WordPress got 2 versions. Yeah, WordPress is by far the biggest or the most common CMS, very popular among marketers like us, you and me. If we really don't want to do all the coding kind of thing, we usually go into WordPress.com or WordPress.org. It's the easiest CMS that you can use. All right. Now the problem with this free hosting is technically still free. Okay, is that you probably need to share branding. Yeah, you don't have a domain name that is yours. So it's like company abc111.wordpress.com. All right, it's not very nice, especially when you are doing it as a business. You want your own brand. Now, of course, most of this website will allow you to attach your own domain name. But guess what happens? When you do that, it's not free anymore. Yikes! Of course lah, your business has grown. You have to invest some money. To make money, you have to invest money. Yes, all right. For WordPress.com, they want you to have a paid plan before you are allowed to have a custom domain. So you want to change your domain name to www.companyabc.com. Yeah, pay for a subscription. Monthly subscription available, yearly subscription also available. All right. So if you want to find out some free hosting plans, again, I share the link here. You can thank me later. Okay, those of you who want to just play and not really serious business and want to try and see this free thing is really so bad, meh? Okay, go ahead. All right, here there are some very nice free hosting sites here. Long time ago, a lot of hosting sites got a lot of advertisement one. Now they use a different way to impose some limitation on your hosting. You can investigate it yourself, but the number one thing that's common in most of the free site is SSL. Your website cannot do without SSL. 2 reasons. Okay, you're doing SEO, your ranking will suffer. Definitely confirm. You're doing e-commerce, you are going to go against the law. Yes, it is actually written in the law. KPTNHEP. It's a agency in Malaysia that governs all these e-commerce activities. Okay, they want you not just to declare your company when you're doing e-commerce, you're receiving payment online. Your company name must be on the website. You must have SSL also. This is basic requirement, and free websites are not going to be able to help you on that. Yeah, so you might argue that, oh, my e-commerce site is very tiny. Not many people coming to my site unless I really promote it on social media. So I don't need a lot of power. But again, without SSL, you literally cannot stand on your own if, as a business, as a trustworthy business. Okay. So yeah. What kind of plans should I get? Okay, now again, our free hosting plan, most of them are also shared hosting. Yes, it's lowest cost, but it's low performance, low security, no SSL some more. You cannot configure a lot of things. you cannot scale also. All right. Now, again, there are many different types of hosting. There's VPS lah, dedicated lah, and there's also the top of the range, which we call cloud hosting. Now, cloud hosting is really, really good, but also really, really expensive. Yeah. All right. When you're small, it's okay. You're doing share hosting. I'm not saying anything is wrong with that. But share hosting works in a way, it's like a long house. You know, a long house is like something like in Malaysia, I think it's in West Malaysia is the potato. Okay, East Malaysia is lion. Okay, okay. So East Malaysia, right? There's one very special community that actually has long house. So in the long house, there can be several families living in the house, right? Okay, so imagine in that long house, suddenly one family make a lot of noise. Yeah, so the whole house will suffer, right? So share hosting is actually like that. So share hosting, right? Again, these hosting providers will not tell you how many people is sharing that hosting. You might be sharing with 10 other people. You might be sharing with another 50 people. You might be sharing with another 100 people for all you know. Imagine what happens if just one website that takes up all the resources in the web hosting. Congratulations lah. Your website is going slow. And you didn't do anything also. Okay, my website still the same. I never changed anything also, but why? Wow, the loading time so slow. Yes, it happens. So that's the risk that you might need to take. Some hosting providers will honestly tell you your share hosting how many people, but the really cheap or sometimes free people, they don't tell you at all. There's a reason how they can manage to offer you cheap lah. You know, they just slice the cake smaller slices lor. Good, yeah. Something to consider, yeah, guys. Okay, you share hosting, low cost, yes, but how many people are you sharing it with? Scary, man. Okay, so yeah, so this is another review. Again, check the review and see whether the share hosting is worth it to go for. They have different plans on. Okay, so just go ahead, do the investigation. Bitcatcher is quite a reputable site lah. When it comes to hosting plans, you might actually read some reviews to get a gist. You know, what is it? Okay, or is it worth it or not spending the money? They have hosting by hosting reviews also, just in case you want to look for something specific. All right. Now, again, before you buy your hosting or when you're investigating on your hosting, it's a good idea to check your hosting specs. What exactly are you paying for? Now, I have seen Fitri, you're asking, okay, I cannot decide lah, whether it's a WordPress lah or a cPanel lah or what, all these big names like Blast lah, what's that? Okay, now a control panel is basically a place for you to manage, you know, your website. Okay, it manages all the backups lah, maybe domain forwarding lah. It's a very high level configuration of your website. WordPress is a CMS. WordPress, you can envision it is like a piece of software that you install inside the hosting. And Plus cPanel is basically like how you call it, an operating system. It's like how you have Windows, and inside Windows you have Microsoft Words. See it that way. All right. Those of you who have used Windows and Mac, you probably know that there's a difference one. Okay, when it comes to OS. Okay, one is easier to use than the other. Some of you are so used to Windows. The moment I give you a Mac, you will get very confused. Anyone? All right, so again, web hosting is exactly like that. But the difference here is control panel, unless you are a very hardcore technical website administrator, you probably need to access it all the time. All right, but for people like us who only use WordPress to put in content, we are going to work with WordPress all the time. All right, so look at your business case. What else are you going to do in your hosting? Do you need to do backups? Do you need to do something complex like creating subdomains? Subdomain is yet another concept. So if your website is www.companyabc.com, in the future, okay, you're going to create things like landingpage.companyabc.com, microsite.companyabc.com, shop.companyabc.com, support.companyabc.com. It gets very complicated depending on the scale of your business and what sort of online services that you offer. Usually, right, people who need subdomains is people who know what they're doing on a technical level. Some people also say that this is one of the components of technical SEO also. So because sometimes they do different experiments, they will actually put the SEO related content under a different subdomain called blog.companyabc.com, something like that. Yeah, there's some strategy out there lah. There's technical SEO that has to do with subdomains. So cPanel hosting more flexible. Well, cPanel hosting helps you maintain your email accounts also. That's the one thing that is very benefit when you go for cPanel hosting. cPanel hosting usually includes email. If you go for only WordPress, right, you only get WordPress. So you have to ask yourself, okay, my business needs email, right? Do I need to subscribe another service for email or not? So that's one factor. Fitri, you write down that note. Now, what if I need to create many landing page unrelated to the main page? Can cPanel hosting do better? You can do it under a subdomain. You can also do it in your main site, but you keep that page hidden from the main page. That means it's not in the menu, not in the footer, not in the header. You can still park it in your main domain name. It's not a problem because you're not using the landing page for SEO, correct? It's only news, that URL is only news for advertisement purposes. Yeah. So yeah, don't go through the hassle of creating a subdomain. It's not as easy as you think. Yeah, it's a lot of wires and a lot of things to put in, so it's not so straightforward. Yeah. All right. So website performance can be influenced by hosting infrastructure. Like I mentioned, I think just now I showed you this one, right? The long house story. Yes. Shared hosting, cloud hosting, go for cloud hosting if you can afford it. And now there's also a few companies that do very good cloud hosting. All right. If any of you have heard of Cloudways, Cloudways, okay, they are quite okay lah, not too bad. And cloud hosting, they allow you to host more than one website on that hosting. So how you know you are on good hosting or not so good hosting? I would say use any of these tools to do a page speed test on your website. Now again, you do not know, or you won't know, and it's not consistent one, depending on what you put on your website. Suddenly you decided to put this really fantastic looking header photo inside your main page, and then everybody complain it's very slow. That's rare. That is common case lah. One big image you put on your website and everybody complains slow. It's obvious you know what happened. But let's say, for example, you have many people working in your website. You don't know what actually triggered the slowness on your website. So using tools like Page Speed Insights or even GT metrics, all right, it can actually help you a little bit to identify whether it's your website problem or is it hosting problem. Yeah, it's an endless debate. I tell you, this is a very common industry pain. Yeah, your web agency people will tell you, somebody must be doing some work in the website, making the website very slow lah. They will push all the responsibility to you as the person put in the content. It's very common. All right. But sometimes when using these kind of tools, you can really pinpoint, is it a content issue? Or is it because the person changed something in the website? Or is it because the hosting, that site there got problem? Or, I think some of you have experienced this before, submarine cable putus. You heard of it before or not? Occasionally, sometimes it can happen. Or DM makes an announcement, or our submarine cable is broken. So the entire internet, there's some performance of some websites in Malaysia cannot function normally. Anybody heard of this before? Yeah, submarine cable broken. Got lah, very common lah. All right, 1 year at least twice one, and it's seasonal also. Sometimes it happens on monsoon season. Yeah, someone drop an anchor on top. Okay, for your information, Jeffrey works with marine industry, so he knows what he's talking about. Sometimes it happens, a lot of factors, a lot of different factors. So you actually have to send people there and repair, and it's not a overnight thing, just flip or switch to repair. All right, so it can cause latency, and not many websites have contingency plan to address latency. So latency basically means people click on the link, it takes forever before anything appears. All right. And if you think about it, the internet, how the signal it travels around the world, it's actually using something called servers and hops. There are many nodes in the world. It's like if you have a guy that is actually from Malaysia trying to browse your website that's hosted in US, that signal actually have to hop through maybe 3 or 4 different countries and then hop back, it's just one way only. Hopping one way is already, I don't know, 6 milliseconds. Hopping back another 6 milliseconds. So that's why it adds up to minutes here. When you buy your hosting, pick a server that is nearest to your ideal audience. Yes, honest advice. Or you have the money, please invest in something called CDN, Content Delivery Network. This is what is this for? It's supposed to help you shortcut the signal or the items or the data that comes back to your audience when they browse your website. Basically, the technical term here is called a cache. C-A-C-H-E. Right? Okay, so I can see Nadira handing up. Yes, yes, a bit late already. I know. Just a little bit more. Okay, okay, all right. So yes, okay. Again, if a proper firewall and everything, right? You have load balancer and firewalls. Okay, so your hosting is supposed to provide that. Is to help reduce latency and also to avoid domain denial of service attack. Is for the benefit of your website. So this costs extra usually. All right, so again, Cloudways, those of you who are interested, please explore. Okay, Cloudways, there's a very interesting business model. How you buy is you basically choose which infrastructure that you want. You can go for DigitalOcean, Amazon, or even Google Cloud if you want to. But I warn you first, Amazon Cloud and Google Cloud are very, very established cloud hosting. They tend to be 10 times more expensive. Go for DigitalOcean. I use DigitalOcean. Okay. Yeah, you don't need it. You don't put money inside there. But I there are good things lah. It's like 99.99999% uptime for AWS and Google Cloud. I have to emphasize the .999. The number of nines after the dot, is a testament of something called the SLA. That means your service level agreement. Some businesses actually want to see this. They want to see how many 99 dot, how many nines behind. Yes, real-time systems, some e-commerce companies, very high-end systems like Facebook. If you're running a social media, you have to have constant uptime, right? So yes, SLA is very important. All right, now last point, okay, customer support. Again, this one is more about checking your reputation of your hosting. They might look very nice because they have marketers also. They're going to tell you everything, they promise everything under the sky, but at the end of the day, when something happens, can you connect to anyone or not? All right. So again, take my advice, test them first. It's very easy. When you go to their website, okay, these are some reviews you can read. You can go into the website, okay, you test. They have live chat, test. All right, you try and search for something inside their website. Can you find an answer or not? Some people like to help themselves, just need some pointers. All right, so different people have different preferences in hosting depending on how comfortable you are in helping yourself or in technical skills. But when you're not, please test whether the customer support can actually help you in all stages, not just after you buy the plan, but even before you buy the plan. Do they really go to the ends of the earth to help you or not?
I have a question on my own from my side. So do you think that it is important for a business to have the same domain name as their social media handle also? Because I saw you show just now, like when once you search for domain name, the website also detects if this is username is available or not. So what do you think will happen if, let's say, that domain name and the social media username doesn't match?
You have to take more effort in marketing your social media handle. That's the only thing. I mean, it doesn't break your business, because when people want to visit you, all right, they usually will assume that it's the same name as your domain, usually lah. But if let's say you don't mind doing a little bit more effort in watermarking your photos with your actual handle of the social media, you can still work around it. So it's not the end of the world if you cannot get your domain name and your social media handler exactly the same. It's more of luck sometimes. Yeah. So yeah, that's my opinion. Market it, know how to market it properly. Yeah, it's probably more doable in some circumstances.
Okay, thank you for your answer on that matter. So I don't see any question here so far. So before I wrap up this thing, as usual, I will give you the slide at the end of this session here in the chat. You can download. But first thing, no, not first thing first. It's already last but not least. So again, we are DMC. We are doing this just to give back, to engage again with our customer, with our audience. So DMC is spearheaded by Charles, by Zavin, by Checha, and by Kat. We are a digital marketing training company. So since 2022, we are trying to be the one with that can guide you every single step of digital marketing. So if you are starting from short course, you can start from short course, you can start from certification, you can start from degree, and then you can even go for executive master. So we have this in DMC, and then we have also the course that I mentioned earlier just now, that one he did help in curating it, which is AI powered digital marketing, and the executive master. And this again is brought to you by DMChampion, part of DMC. Which, if you are not yet a member, please join the Telegram group. I'm going to post the video there probably in 2 weeks time. Give me some time to edit. And then that's it from my side here. But we have one question just before we go. I'm going to try to end this by 9:30. I'm sorry that we exceeded the time, but I hope you guys have an enjoyable evening and topic with Wan Yi. So last question from PY. Hi Wan Yi, if you face INP problem on page speed, how do we solve it?
INP problem.
Probably you can elaborate what is INP problem.
PY, where you see this is it INP? In page something. I'm guessing here. All right. Okay, while we wait for PY to answer a question, I can see a question from Fitri.
Yeah, from Fitri there. So if you got degree in another fields, can we skip straight away to do masters? Yeah, for Unimas master, you need a minimum of 5 years of working experience. So regardless of any fields, as long as you have these 5 years of working field, they should be okay.
All right, now coming back to the INP question. Thank you, Jeffrey. Okay, I'm very bad at shortcuts. Yeah, and I call myself an IT person. All right, interaction to next point. Okay, so you're looking for a solution for INP problem. Usually, it's a combination of different issues. It could be a design issue. That means there must be some invisible layer that is causing the website to load very slowly, or people cannot click on the link. Especially for Google PageSpeed analytics, when you do a analysis using the Google PageSpeed, it actually discovers different layers that might potentially be blocking certain elements on your page. So they will put that as INP. That's one possible solution. If you are not a UI UX developer, it's very hard to nail down where exactly this INP is happening. So you probably need to engage an expert to figure out where exactly is this INP issue. All right. Or you can actually do a page by page page piece analysis to identify where exactly which page first. Then it could narrow down the problem a little bit. Yeah. So your page responsiveness needs improvement. Or responsiveness. Yeah, it's usually, all the fancy interactive elements that you put on the page, like animation, it delays. It makes people slower to be able to click on the link also. So Google Search Console, send email interaction, next pane. Yeah, it's about all these different layers. You have to see your page got a lot of all these floating elements, pop-ups. Can also be that reason also.
Yeah. I've noticed a few websites where that when you scroll, a new animation comes in, and then you scroll down some more, then another thing slows up. So those actually affects your speed lah. Again, thank you Wan Yi for tonight. But not to forget, next week, same day, same time, still Wan Yi. But this round, she's going to do some website gap analysis. So if you would like to volunteer your website to be audited by Wan Yi,
for free,
yes, for free. Yes, for free. We are going to choose two websites. I'm going to post the link in Telegram tomorrow. You can just share the you can reply under leave a comment under that particular discussion, your domain name, and then Wan Yi will select two, I would say, for next Wednesday, two domain to do some audit for free, live here at DMC webinar every Wednesday at 8 p.m. So I would say that's it for tonight. Again, Wan Yi, thank you very much for sharing, and thank you everyone for being a very engaging crowd tonight. I see all the emojis flying in. So again, next time, next Wednesday, same time, same day, another webinar with DMC and DMC Champion. Bye-bye and have a great evening.